Hello and welcome to the 27th episode of my Call of Duty Ghosts Weapon Guide. In this episode, the Chainsaw, a prototype LMG from the American Knights Armament Company with an impractical yet awesome chainsaw-style top grip. The chainsaw's damage is low, the lowest within the LMG category. You'll always need at least 3 shots to kill at a close range, regardless of headshots. The weapon loses its 3-hit kill ability sooner than any other weapon within the same class, and at a long range, you may need up to 5 shots to kill. Rate of fire is very good, however. 857 rounds per minute puts it at the top of its class, and the weapon is capable of rivaling even some SMGs in this regard. Of particular note is the hipfire performance. You are unable to aim down your sights with the chainsaw, so unaimed fire is your only option. Thankfully, the weapon outshines its peers in that regard, with similar performance to an SMG, and the ability to tighten the spread further by aiming. While accurate long-range shots are an impossibility, the chainsaw performs surprisingly well at a middle distance for an LMG without a sight. Recoil is less of a factor given the weapon's spread, but it is present with only mild effect. As mentioned, you can't aim down your sights, but tightening up the spread takes as long as the equivalent process for other LMGs, at 350 milliseconds. Of note is your movement speed with this weapon. Unlike the other options, you'll benefit from slightly better mobility. 90% of the base speed, the same as an assault rifle. Magazine capacity is good, although less impressive than its peers. 80 rounds is a good amount of firepower, but with the chainsaw's rate of fire, it can be rapidly depleted. Reloads can prove inconvenient if you need to top up mid-assault, as they are the slowest in class. You'll be out of the fight for a lengthy 8.03 seconds. The chainsaw best suits an assault role rather than a traditional defensive LMG one. With superior mobility and rate of fire, shock tactics are your ally. This means you should forget any ideas of accuracy and instead focus on dealing the highest damage possible. And as such, rapid fire is a very worthwhile attachment. The higher rate of fire means you can liberally saturate an area with bullets. Perhaps not the most efficient use of ammunition, but effective nonetheless. If you want even more bang for your buck, with the ability to tackle targets indirectly, then consider adding the underslung grenade launcher to soften up unseen targets prior to your assault. Add in recon to your perks for a way to mark targets caught in your blast, revealing their camping spot, and making the job of clearing them out from a position much easier. Sleight of Hand is a very sensible choice, as the chainsaw has a shorter magazine than its peers and faster consumption, especially with rapid fire. The reloads are still a major inconvenience, but far better than without the perk. It will prove worth its cost. Either fully loaded or scavenger is also worth having, as otherwise on a longer streak you might find your weapon entirely depleted. Beyond this, it can be wise to buff your mobility so you can remain in the thick of it. Ready up and agility will help improve your performance in rapid-paced engagements. Alternatively, either sitrep or blast shield can be a worthwhile investment, alerting you to the presence of equipment as you assault the enemy hardpoint. The chainsaw is an interesting LMG that can be used quite successfully in an aggressive role. It excels at shooting first and asking questions later, with a deep magazine and a high potential level of output. With elevated mobility and a fire rate comparable to an SMG, no other weapon can saturate an area with bullets quite like the chainsaw. Unfortunately, precision is not this weapon's suit, as you will be unable to aim or land accurate shots at any sort of distance. This makes long-range combat a dangerous affair, and as a general rule of thumb, you should avoid longer sightlines where possible. Still, this weapon is capable of incredible output, and can easily fell even dug-in opponents. If you're stumped and can't see the wood for the trees, then maybe this piece of hardware is for you. Rev up the chainsaw and cut down your foe. Thank you very much for watching, and join me next time when I'll be covering the SVU. Until then, farewell.